Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start our Sunday Gita class with some mantras first, where we pay respect to Lord Krishna, Rishi Vyasa, Bhagavad Gita itself. Okay. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasen Grathitam Puran Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrit Varshine Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayane Amutvam Anusandhame Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshine Namo Astu Te Vyas Vishal Buddhe Full Arvind Ayat Patra Netar Yen Tavya Bharat Tail Purnaha प्रज्वलितो ज्ञान में प्रदीपा प्रपन्न पारी जाता है तोत्र वेत्र एक पाने ज्ञान मुद्राए कृष्णाए गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोगदा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सा सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चानूर मर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णम वंदे जगद्गुरुम भीष्म द्रोण तटा जयद्रथ जला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्य ग्राहवती कृपेन वहने कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोरमक्रा दुर्योधन अवर्तने सो तीर्ना खलु पांडवै नदी के वर्तका केशवा पाराशरे वत्सरोजमलम गीता अर्थ गंधोटकम नानाख्यानक केसरम हरि कथा संबोधन अबोधितम लोके सज्जन षटपदे रह पे पिए मानम मुदा भूयाद भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसे न श्रेयसे मूकम करोति वाचालम पंगुम लंघ्यते गिरम यत्कृपातमह वंदे परमानंद माधवम यम ब्रह्म वरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यस्तवे वेदै सांग पद क्रमोपनिषदै गायन्ति यम सामगा ध्यानवस्थित तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यम योगिनो यस्यन्तं न विदुसुर असुर गणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. We are trying to study and understand Raj Vidya Rajguh Yoga chapter. That's a chapter number 9. And I'm sure you all know how many altogether chapters in Bhagavad Gita? 18 chapters. So with this chapter, we are halfway through Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So we finished our last week's class with verse number 32. And there are only 2 more verses left in this chapter. And we saw in this chapter the greatness of the path of devotion. And in this particular verse, verse number 32, Lord Krishna is telling us that everyone is eligible for devotion. Everybody. Why? Because all souls are children of God. He is willing to accept us, all of us, with open arms, provided we go to Him with genuine love. What is a genuine love? Nishkam Bhakti. Because if you go to Him to fulfill the desires, that's not a Nishkam Bhakti. That's called a Sakam Bhakti. Okay. So in this verse, which I told you last time, a lot of people, they just say, they don't understand it deeper significance of this verse. So they start criticizing even Lord Krishna. Remember, I told you last time that feminine nature of the mind is called Istri. It's not a physical body of a person. It's a feminine nature of the mind. And a commercial attitude of the intellect is called Vaishya. And a general dullness, morbidity, laziness is called Shudra. Remember these terms for their deeper significance or the real meaning. So if you want to get qualified, To be in the arms of God, He is telling us this prescription, which is the sadhana. Of all the spiritual practices, the most efficient is the constant remembrance of the Lord. Remember God. So we got to keep an eye on our mind. What is there? Is the world there? Or is God there? Devotion or the upasana is an overflowing love from our heart towards God and God alone. When we do that kind of a sadhana, what happens? Our mind gets purified because we are thinking about something which is most pure, God. And when the mind is so pure, all the debilities which we classified over here in this verse, women, traders, and workers, they get purified. Too much attachment to the children, too much attachment to the money, too much attachment to your own selfishness. Me and mine, they get purified. According to Lord Krishna, these are negative qualities. Once these negative qualities have been removed from the mind, it really gains a lot of power. Power to concentrate, single pointedness, balance. This is what we get from this kind of a sadhana. And that's how we move towards our final destination. Let's look at the next verse where we're going to start our class today, because this is what we talked about last week. So number 33. Kim punaha brahmanaha punya bhagta raj rishya tatha anityam asukham lokam imam prapye bhajasva mam. Kim puna, how much more? Brahmanaha, the Brahmans. Punya, holy. Bhagta, devoted. Raj rishya, the royal saints. Tatha means also anityam, impermanent. Asukham, unhappy. Lokam, world. Imam, this. Prapye, having obtained. Bhajasva, worship. Mam means me. So this is a continuation of the verse number 32, because he talked about the other three first. Now he's talking about the Brahman and the Raj Rishi. He says, how much more or easily than the holy Brahmans or devoted royal saints attain the goal. So that means that if you are already a sattvic, because Brahman is, that means a mind which is very sattvic. Raj Rishi also, very sattvic, highly sattvic person. It will be a lot easier for this kind of a person. So he's encouraging Arjun actually over here. Okay. And through Arjun, we get the hint also. Walk on the path of sattvikta. So how much more or easily than the holy Brahmins and devoted royal saints attain the goal? Having reached this impermanent and joyless world, do worship me. And worship means love me. We know that. We have talked about worship word quite a bit. So how easy and almost natural self-realization and a godly life must be for a sattvic person. It's like you are just attracted to this kind of a life. Helping others, doing puja, sitting in meditation, thinking about God all the time, it just becomes your second nature. A king, see Raj. Even the title of this chapter is Raj Vidya Raj Guha. King has already enjoyed intelligently power and the wealth. But when the Rishi's qualities are in a king, that's like a King Janak. So neither drawn towards the power and the wealth, and also understands the insignificance of all this stuff. So how much easier it is to think about the eternal God. So that's why this person will come to experience the inward peace of true contemplation upon the self, and that becomes a Raj Rishi. Because, see, anityam asukham, because no matter how much wealth we have, no matter how much power we have, we know that it is transient. We all have to leave it here. So we got to always think about that. We are living in a very temporary world. So this instruction is to Arjuna and also instruction to all of us. Another term I want to explain is the lok over here. Anityam asukham lokam. Lok is not just the physical world alone. This lok is a physical, mental, and intellectual, all of it. Anything which changes is a lok. Physical world keep on changing. Our mind, we know it keeps on changing. Intellect keeps on changing. They are all anitya and asukha. So transient nature of these loks, just remember that. So we got to, what do we have to do? Every day, at least for a few minutes a day, contemplate upon this anitya loks. How do we do it? When we meditate, what do we do? Symbolically, we have this Gyan Mudra. This is called a Gyan Mudra because this takes us towards the real truth. I am not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect. These are the loks he's talking about. And I want to just get absorbed into that, which is Nitya, not Anitya. Because nothing but the infinite can satisfy an intelligent person totally. Continuity of experience of our mind, of our intellect, it just constantly keeps on flowing, keeps on changing. So over here, Lord Krishna is telling us, keep this in mind. So he is declaring this world. See, Anitya also means today you are happy, next moment you don't know. You really don't know what's going to happen. There could be a despair, there could be a sorrow, there could be disappointment. So do not get attached to it. Okay? Stay in that everlasting, blissful state, which is Nitya. And worship me devoutly. Now he's telling us in the last verse, how are we supposed to worship him? Because previously he did tell us, whether you bring a flower or a leaf or water, whatever you bring, but bring it with a pure heart, pure mind, with love. So now he's telling us how to worship him, because he's kind of concluding or summarizing this chapter in this last verse. If you want to memorize some of these verses of Bhagavad Gita, this is one of those verses. Memorize it, but with a full understanding. Manmana bhav mad bhakta, madhyaji mam namaskuru, mam ev eshyasi yuktva, evam atmanam mat prayana. Beautiful verse. Manmana, with mind filled with me. Me means God. Bhav means be, like a be you. Mad bhagta, my devotee. Madhyaji, searching, one sacrificing to me. See, when we search God, we sacrifice God. Ma means to me, namaskuru, bow down. Next line, Ma means to me, Ev means alone, Eshyasi, you shall come. Yuktava, having united. Evam das, Atmanam, the self, Mat Prayana, taking me as a supreme goal. We have been talking about the goals in life. Goals keep on changing, but there's a one goal which does not change. That is the supreme goal. Supreme goal is what? The moksha, or becoming one with God. Okay. So achieving the little goals, that's fine. That's why I always tell you this ultimate goal is also called, that is our ultimate place. The last step on this ladder. Fix your mind on me, be devoted to me, sacrifice unto me, bow down to me, having thus united your whole self with me, taking me as the supreme goal. What will happen? He says, you shall come to me. This is the way to do it. So again, it's a beautiful summary of this entire chapter, which is throwing a flood of light upon many of other verses which we have learned. Bhagavad Gita is also called a textbook of Brahma Vidya. Techniques of self-development, self-perfection through the path of this right knowledge, meditation, has been defined for us. So when he says that, or me, what happens? He even told us earlier, talk about me when you are with other people. Mentally just drown yourself in the thoughts of God. And in the next chapter, we'll see that we don't have to go far to drown ourselves into the thoughts of God. He will tell us, I'm everywhere. There's no place where I'm not. You can look at a beautiful flower. You can look at water. You can look at a person next to you. Try to see God in them. We don't have to go to Ganges to feel the oneness with the water. So pursuit of the Brahma he has been talking about. So after having stressed the bhakti throughout this chapter, Lord Krishna is concluding it and telling Arjun to become a devotee. Become a devotee. Okay. He is asking Arjun to unite his consciousness with God in true yoga. This yuktva word, that really means a yoga. And how do we do it? By worshipping him, engaging our mind in meditation. We can use a divine form, any form. We can use a mantra, but we can use formless. Does not matter. No condition. And offering, whatever you offer, offer with humility, with surrender. That's what he's telling us over here. So there's another classical definition in the Vedas by Rishi Vyasa. It goes like Tat Chintanam, Tat Kathanam. That means that means God. Anyam Tat Prabodhanam. Etat Ek Paratvam Cha Brahma Abhyasmam Vidur Buddha. So Rishi Vyasa has written many books. There are a lot of commentaries also. But he always takes us towards that. The mind ever filled with me, my devotee makes all sacrifices, all salutations to me at all times, whatever be the type of work that engages him. We learned that also. It doesn't matter that everybody got to teach Gita. Whatever you are doing, think that you are working for God. No matter what you are doing. There are many, many examples. Even a butcher got moksha. We talk about those, we read about those stories in our Puranas. So do it for God. So in summary, the evolution of the mind is the very essence of all spiritual reformation in life. Constant awareness needs to be maintained diligently is the secret of the success. So that means that we got to watch our mind. What is it doing? We are going for a walk. What my mind is doing? I'm supposed to pray to God. Where is my mind? I'm going to sleep. Where is my mind? When I get up, what is my mind doing? Even a very mundane activities, cooking, cleaning, what is our mind doing? Is it absorbed in God? Or is it worrying needlessly? Okay, keep an eye on your mind. It's your mind. You're not the mind. You have a mind. Constant awareness. When this takes place, that supreme goal is right there. You have attained the supreme goal. And he says, you shall come to me. And it's not that we have to go somewhere to go to God. And if God is everywhere, what is separating us from God is our worldly mind. What will connect us with God? A spiritual mind. That's all. It's that easy. It's that easy. My own Guruji used to say, all you have to do is just turn around. You are facing towards the worldly life, turn it around to God. That's all. To convert yourself from a bhogi to a yogi, that's all it takes. Train your mind. We are what we are because of our thoughts. If the thoughts are noble, divine, we become noble and divine. If our thoughts are worldly, we are worldly. If our thoughts are godly, we are God. It's as simple as that. Man is what man's thoughts are. And namaskuru. I really love that word. Namaskuru. Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. I have seen my own Gurudev Ji doing the namaskar at the feet of his Guru or at the altar so humbly. You see the act of humbleness when the namaskar is there. It could be prostration, it could be, and the other day I was listening to his Updesh. He said that his Guru, Swami Mulak Raj Ji, he will do namaskar several times a day. He'll just lie down, and he was a Guru of countless people. But to his Guru, he will do the namaskar. And in his tape, I heard he said, now I understand why he did it. Because this mind, this intellect, it just goes into the world, and you just bring it back again and again towards God with that kind of a humility. So namaskuru. So effectively, we got to learn how to neutralize our egotism, pride, which arises in us. It is almost like a seeds of ego. They just want to burst open all the time. But this devotion part, this namaskar, neutralizes these seeds. So free from pride, with the heart immersed in devotion, we should dedicate all our thoughts and actions to the Supreme. We got to be genuine about it. We don't have to talk about it. We should feel it. So Lord Krishna is assuring towards the end over here that such complete communion with him through bhakti yoga will definitely result in the attainment of God realization. And there should be no doubt. We should never think that, gosh, maybe Arjun can do it. We cannot. No, we all are capable of. Because at the soul level, which is truly our nature, there's no difference. No difference between Arjun and us. We are all children of God. Before we start the next chapter, I would like Urmil to recite these 2 verses also. Then we will start with Vibhuti Yoga chapter number 10. So she'll be reciting just these 2 verses. Urmil, unmute yourself, please. Thank you.
So, Lord Krishna, as you know, from 9.30 on, emphasized the value of single-minded devotion, Ananya Bhakti, and Hershey has elaborated on it to the best extent she can. And if we still get it, it's because we are not ready for it. Maybe these 2 last verses will stick to our mind. 9.33. If anybody can attain the supreme abode, then it should be easy for wise kings like you, O Arjuna. Why endure the dark and transitory world you got? Worship me with loving devotion, said Krishna. And then Lord Krishna recapped the pathway of one pointed exclusive devotion in this final verse. Always be mindful of me, be devoted to me, worship me with love, and offer me humble prayer. By pledging your mind and body to me, you will surely unite with me and see me everywhere. That ends this chapter. And it says Om Tat Sat, supreme knowledge, and the big mystery chapter is over. Lord Krishna encourages him to become his devotee, suggests him to worship him with meditation, devotion and meditation and humility. That he gives a guarantee almost. We can realize God with Bhakti Yoga. So we've got this. And this time I really understood this chapter a lot more than before. What is this royal knowledge? And it's, well, it is. But maybe at another time we can discuss this chapter, how to make this shift from the world we are living in to this total devotion and spirit concentration. Making that shift is what it is, but how to turn around is the word that used. Turn around and face the other side. What it takes, we need to talk a lot more. We know meditation and all that, but the class finishes, the real world starts, and then the world. What did I study? What did I do all this? When the minute I turn around, the real world comes in front of me. So it's like I go this way and I go this way, and it's
Sure.
a
Sure, thank you. Thank you very much. So let's start with chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga. And I'm sure you're all familiar with the term Vibhuti because this Vibhuti word comes in Yoga Sutras also. You remember, after practicing yoga, the 3rd chapter of Yoga Darshan is Vibhuti Yoga. So over here, the Vibhuti Yoga chapter, he describes the power of the Lordship. Lord Krishna describes that. And the second thing he will describe is the pervasiveness or eminence of the self. Okay, so we'll see how beautifully the God is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. These are the terms we'll learn also, and we'll see the power of God. Okay, so this chapter starts with the Lord Krishna's words himself. So Arjun is not asking a question right away. He's just paying attention and listening and absorbed into Lord Krishna himself. So verse number 1. Bhuye ev mahabaho shrinu me paramam vacha yat te priyamanaye vakshyami hit kamya. Bhuya, again. Ev means verily, mahabaho, mighty armed. So whenever he uses this word mahabaho, he's encouraging and reminding Arjun that you are not a coward. The way you are acting right now, you are a mighty armed, mighty warrior. Shrinu here, me means my, Paramam supreme, Vachaha word. Yat, which te means to you, Priye manai, who are delighted. Vakshyami will declare to you, Hit kamya, wishing your welfare. So Lord Krishna is saying again, O mighty Amja, listen to my supreme word, which I, wishing your welfare, will declare to you who are delighted to hear me. So it's almost like a parent telling the child, I'm telling you this for your good. So this is exactly what Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna. And another thing he's saying, you are delighted to hear me. If a student is not happy to hear teacher's words, the teacher say, I don't want to teach. So he sees that eagerness and the love on Arjun's face to hear his words. So that's why he says, I'm going to continue because you are delighted to hear this. Even as parents also, if children they don't want to listen to the parents, after a certain point, parents say, okay, I'll do whatever you want to do. You don't want to listen to them. So this is like a very practical things which we are getting from this. So there must be an inward glow of peace and satisfaction on the face of Arjuna. See, the words which are used over here, they take us. See, Rishi Vyas is such a writer. He takes us right here in the middle of the war zone. Right? We feel that we are standing over there, right in front of Arjuna and Lord Krishna. So philosophically, he says that, hey, yeah, I'm encouraged to teach you more. And why I want to teach you? Because I desire your welfare. Now let's look at it. What is he telling him? Na me vidu surganaha prabhuvanam maharishya aham adi hi devanam maharishi nam cha sarvasha. Na means not, me means my, vidu, no. Surgana, the hosts of devas. Prabhuvam, origin. Na means not, maharishi, the great rishis. Aham, I, adi, the beginning. He means for deva nam of the devas, maharishi nam of the great rishis. Cha means and, sarvasha in every way. Neither the hosts of the heaven nor the great rishis know my origin. So this is God talking. In every way, I am the source of all the devas and the rishis. It's almost like a father knows about the birth and the life of his child because he witnesses it. The devatas and the rishis cannot comprehend the real nature and the origin of God. But over here, we get to look at it philosophically, what devas and rishis really mean. Is he talking about the Saptarishis? Is he talking about all the devatas? Not really. There are 5 elements we are all familiar with. Earth, water, fire, air, and space. And each one of those elements, they have the devatas attached to it. Power to smell, power to taste, power to see, power to talk. All those powers, smell, taste, form, touch, sound. These 5 senses of ours. And then comes ahankar, man, buddhi. So he's talking about these things over here. When we look at the other Saptarishis and Devatas, those are objectified representation of the subjective truth. So those rishis and devatas are right here inside us. This is what Lord Krishna is telling us, that no matter how smart you are, you cannot understand the origin of God. No matter how beautiful your eyes are, how strong your hearing is, you cannot know God. You got to transcend these. These are part of the Prakriti. Prakriti has arisen from God. It has limitation. Prakriti is inert without God. We know that what happens to the body when the soul has left. The eyes are still there. The body is still there. Arms and legs are still there. But that power has left. So that's why he says, neither the hosts of the heavens nor the great rishis know my origin. Every way I am the source of all the devatas and the rishis. Okay, so devatas, those are 5 elements. Remember that. So the consciousness, being the very subjective truth in us, can never become an object of perception for the sense organs or the organs of feeling of the mind, or an object of knowing for the intellect. You have to always remember that. Pay attention to the source. And that source is not different from God. Okay, so we'll stop the class here because there's a lot to talk about, even about this Devatas and the Rishis. So I'll pick up from here next week. And I want you to think about it also, what I just said. Do you believe in these words or not? So he's not putting somebody down, that Devatas or the Saptarishis. He's just talking about this truth. Remember that. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om.